juice today with the fans here?
Yeah, it was good to get them out here. Seemed like it was pretty packed early on. Weather kind of held off for us, and try to give the fans what they want, get the ball down the field a little bit, and we appreciate the whole fan base and community coming out to support us.
You like being out here?
Yeah, it's fun, man. It helps bring some life to the joint, and I know the players really appreciate it. I know all of us feel it, and it makes it just a little bit more competitive. It's just natural. The fact that you've got people that care about what we're doing out here, taking the time to watch us practice. That's something that I really appreciate as the coach, and also feed off of when we're out here. It's when we're in the call-up periods and you hear the fans roar when the guys make a play. Well, I want to throw it down the field again, and you want to continue to do it because momentum's a hell of a drug.
You talked about BTJ before, but what he's stacking here, what does that do for him, or can do for him confidence-wise?
Huge for the confidence, as you said, number one, to always, you hear it's hard to not hear everything, right? And to also, for himself, I know there was, standards in which he wanted to improve upon. And so the fact that he's just come out here and work his ass off, having a great attitude, like after every play, communication with either myself or Trevor or EB or Grant, whatever it is, and then making the plays. Like that is something that you cannot simulate in routes on air. You cannot simulate that type of confidence until you do it in practice. Like it's just, there's nobody that I've known as a player that just can only turn it on in a game. Like the whole gamer thing, like I don't fully believe in that. I believe in guys elevate their play to go play in a game, absolutely. But the confidence of the connection and chemistry that they're building, that's real.
Continuation to their points, you have the opportunity to string together a series of successful seasons for the first time in quite some time for this franchise. Was having the crowd's energy here a reminder of the expectations for this group?
Yeah, look, we try not to feed too much into the expectation world. We try to just live in the day, in the process of getting better each and every day. And so as much as we understand that there's been peaks and valleys in the past, we're not living in that past. We're living in the moment. We're living in today, and having the fans out here today was a great representation of guys continuing to elevate their play, elevate the standard of how we practice and operate on a day-to-day basis. But you want expectations to be high, and you want, because it's more of a standard of creating a standard of, hey, this is just how we play, this is how we operate.
Coach, there's no such thing as having too many guys that can make plays, but with guys that have individual goals and a desire to help the team, how do you balance that out, letting them know that you're going to get your chance?
Yeah, I think that the cream always rises. The guys that, operate as professionals, that know what they're doing in the playbook, that know how to come out here and practice and put it on tape, those guys are going to be the ones that are always going to get the most opportunities, And you want every player, and I tell them in meetings, like, guys, your individual goals are important to us. Like, we go over those in your 3 better, 3 best, and what your goals are individually, because every player that has success, that's only going to help our team, right? And you want players to go and achieve those goals, to go get paid, to get bonuses. Like, we want that. Like, absolutely want that for each and every player. But it's got to be a team-first mentality. Is it truly what's best for the team? And that's what we're doing with personnel. The best players will always play. I don't care if you're a rookie, if you're a vet, it does not matter. The best players will play, and the best players will get the touches and targets.
Rodriguez, when he does get back, how much does his familiarity with you help him catch up?
It helps, for sure. The onboarding process of more so the run game and protections, right? That's more, the most that running backs have to know is their track. What's the concept of run, whether it's outside zone, mid zone, tight zone, whatever those are, knowing what those tracks and footworks are, and then the blitz pickup and protections. Other than that, you're talking about checkdowns and routes that they learn through concepts, and we've been running a lot of the concepts that we're running now when I was at Kentucky in 21. I mean, there's so much that we're doing that may be different verbiage from what it was then, but very similar conceptually. So I'm not worried about him at all from a, is he going to be ready mentally to go when we hit training camp? Not worried about him, not one bit.
Last offseason was your first season, obviously, in introducing everything to the guys. There was a lot of cross-positional flexibility within the offensive line. Any plans on the new guys or even the veterans grabbing that same thing this year?
Yeah, next week when we hit kind of those last 3 days of what we'll call OTAs, we're going to, and now we won't be doing much teamwork like against each other, but within the positional drills, within the group separate OD drills, we are going to be mixing up the offensive line a little bit and just getting some of those guys individual work at different positions. And that's kind of our way to, as we head towards the end, we're not doing anything where chemistry would get maybe in the way there or any issues with communication. We'll have some of those guys bounce around at different positions throughout individual and through group work next week.
Using any week one stuff this week?
This week, no. Next week, that's what it's all for. So we're going to use next week what we're going to call it essentially a pass camp, where everything that we're doing on Monday through Wednesday is really hyper-focused on the pass game. Not just, obviously, we'll do some 7-on-7, but pass rush. It's all, the D-line's going to be in all pass rush drills the entire day. Offensive line, they're going to be in all pass protection drills, whether it's individually, pods of groups, half line, full line, and then we'll do some blitz pickup, which will be a lot of it geared towards Cleveland in that way.
UFL experimented with 4 points for a 60-yard field goal or longer. Any interest in that?
Heck yeah, man. Let's go. Up the ante a little bit. I mean, I think it's cool that, you look at the dynamic kickoff and the UFL obviously having a lot to do with some of those things. And I think the game, so much of this game at this level, it's taken from high school, it's taken from college, it's taken from the UFL, from Canada, from arena. There's so many different, whether it's rules, scheme, concepts, fundamentals, and techniques that we can take from everywhere. I think that would be a pretty cool rule proposal to come up on the docket here.
That would impact the way you might
Absolutely, yeah. There's definitely some more strategy involved if it was worth 4 points. I think we have a little bit of an advantage with our guy having 2 of those long field goals last year and being able to attempt them. That would definitely change some of your strategy for sure. I think it's a cool conversation.
It was a really big day for the secondary today. What did you see from those guys today? How are you feeling walking out of this competition?
Yeah, I feel like the secondary's improved drastically from where we were. I think the combination of Matt Arujo and Anthony Perkins have done a phenomenal job in the secondary, collaborating with what Campy's vision is back there. But what Matt has brought has been some swagger, some confidence, and we're trying to play a little bit stickier underneath. And look, make people throw the ball over your heads. The percentages of completions of just a go ball versus a hitch or a curl, it's so much smaller. The margin for error is so much smaller to say, man, the ball has to get completed 45 yards down the field on the red line, one-on-one, right? So we're trying to just continue to take the air out of the coverage, and that's not just in the secondary. That's at the linebacker position, and that only helps the rush. Right, the rush and the coverage are always tied together, and if we can be a little bit more sticky, a little bit tighter coverage, even when we're in our zones, I think it's only going to help our cause.
I think he's improved a ton, but just watching him, he's really been super detailed with his technique. I think that's one of the things that shows up. Very, very deliberate, like in the way that he's practicing, and I think that's created some takeaways for him and making some plays on the ball. He's just always seems to be near the action right now. So he's really done a great job and improved a bunch this spring.
You've got Matthew on from your staff. Obviously, you have a background with him. What does he bring to the table?
I think he's an incredibly detailed guy. He's really, really smart young coach. But he's a maniac out here on the field. I think you guys who've been around him, you've seen that. He's just a great coach, super detailed. He's a tireless worker. He puts in hours now. We've known each other for a long, long time. We had coached together before at Boston College when I was coaching DBs and he was coaching with me. We just have a very, very similar philosophy and thought process on football.
From your perspective, how different does Brian look this spring as opposed to last spring? Brian Thompson.
Yeah, he looks great. He's done a heck of a job. Honestly, last year I thought he was pretty good too. Sorry about that. Good. Yeah. All right. Yeah, he's done a great job. I thought he did a great job last year, and he's really had a great spring. I think you guys obviously have seen that. But he's one of those guys. He's a big, long guy that can really run, and there's not that many of those guys walking around, so he's tough to cover.
What did you like about Zach Durfee, coming out, and what have you seen from him so far?
Really what we've seen out here, that's what we liked about him. He practices super hard. He plays hard all the time. I think Zach's a really good pass rusher, but he's stout at the point of attack, so he can set a firm edge in the run game. And he's just a big guy that's really, really athletic. He's got some hybrid qualities in terms of being a defensive lineman that can do some linebacker jobs. So we're always looking for guys with position flexibility and versatility. And he was one of those guys that we thought he had those qualities. And when you watched him play, he just played hard as hell. So that's something I certainly haven't been surprised by his effort in practice. That's what we expected.
Hard to believe we're talking about Josh being bigger and stronger, but he looks bigger and stronger.
Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he looks great. I said a couple weeks ago, I was talking about Eric Ciano and his staff. I think they've done an incredible job with these guys. Josh isn't the only guy, but he looks great. He's put on good weight. There's obviously you can put on weight, but it's got to be good weight, and he's super strong at the point of attack, and he's got that first step in explosion that we love about him.
What would that give him?
I just think it benefits him in every which way, you know what I mean? Finishing the rush at the top of the rush, when you're working speed to power, you can't tell me that's not something that's an advantage to you, because his lower half is super strong. And we talk about that in the run game, your hands, obviously, the guy who strikes first wins, but, the ass whooping's done with your legs, your hips, and low back. And, we got that. Got a bunch of guys with that lower body strength in the front, and that's what we're always looking for.
Liam just said he thought the secondary was vastly improved. Mm-hmm. You agree?
Yeah, I think we're getting there every day. It's a process. This stuff in the spring is great, but, it don't really matter much what you do in your underwear. It's about who's going out there and who's going to be physical when we get back here in the summer. But this is always a good start, and I think fundamentally our guys have improved a bunch since we started this spring.
What do you think about healthy Armstead this year?
What do we need from them? We just need, I think, the production that we were seeing before Eric got hurt. And, as he came back, obviously he pushed through an injury at the end of the year. And Eric is a huge guy inside. He creates great middle push. He's got elite pass rush value for us. So, we just need him to keep going the way he's been going.
Besides your self-scout during the offseason, which other teams got your attention? Either the pressures they ran?
Yeah, every year you watch everybody and you kind of try, you usually stay in the top 5, top 10 in different areas, that you're trying to improve upon. But there's a bunch of teams, and I think it's a little bit of a copycat league for sure. But we've watched some teams, and then I'll always watch the guys that I have familiarity with and similarities with in our system. So any of those teams, any of those guys I work with, we're always watching each other's stuff for sure.
How important has Foye been, sort of just to lead the defense by example over the last 2 years?
Yeah, he's like having a coach on the field. You know what I mean? He's a great guy to coach, just a great person and great leader. But the thing that's awesome about him is he's never going to ask anybody to do anything he isn't doing himself, and it's not so much what you say, it's what people see. And they see him doing the right thing all the time. They see him being hard on himself, being critical of himself. But he really is a great leader and a great teacher for some of the young guys, too. He's been awesome.
Why do you think he doesn't get all the accolades necessarily? He's led the league in solo tackles a couple times.
I think if people don't think that guy's an elite player, they don't know a lot about football, in my opinion. He is, watching him when I was in Miami over the years, when he was in Atlanta, I remember watching him. I'm like, man, this kid is a great player. And coming here, getting a chance to coach him, he's everything that I thought he was, and more, you know what I mean? He's just a fun guy to coach. He's super detailed, super smart. Like, you know, and you, I have such a great appreciation for everything that he tries to do out here every day, and you know, the detail he puts into everything he does. So yeah, he is, in my opinion, certainly at the top level at that position.
Coach, your young linebackers outside of Fourier, are you satisfied with how they're tracking and with their progression?
Yeah, I think they're coming along. I think Coach Lukabu's done a great job with them. I mean, he's forever grinding and you know, doing everything he can to bring those guys up to speed. It's a lot. We've given them a lot this spring. We kind of kept pushing the install on them, so when we get back in the summer, we're ready to go. We're not really leaving any stone unturned. We want to put that stuff on tape, give ourselves the opportunity to watch it, you know, tweak it and critique it. And then for them, they have some familiarity with doing it. So that's hard for a young guy because, you know, it's not all like, hey, base install and here you go, buddy, let's just see you run around and play. We've pushed them. And they've done a great job, even fundamentally in the drill work. Tim's all over him, and he does a great job. He's pretty innovative too, man, with some of the stuff he's done with the drill work this spring. I think has been great. And I've been very, very impressed with them.
How important are these reps for guys like Caleb and Jalen who, you know, weren't able to get them last year because of injuries?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question. I don't think there's any substitute for repetition. I think that's the most important thing. You know, people physiologically, we're all kind of wired the same way. You know, you get better at doing things by doing them. You get better at football by playing football. And I used to work for a really smart guy. He used to say, you know, that less is more. That's not true. More is more. You know, more is more. If somebody will offer you less money or more money, and I can say, no, I want less. You know what I mean? It's that's just what it is. So anytime you do more, you're going to get better at it. And I think we've been doing a good job of giving these guys reps, and they've been doing a good job of, you know, taking them to heart and trying to do the best they can. Appreciate it, guys.
Just how important is that for you to get everybody out there donating blood and sort of speak about that initiative?
I mean, the bigger thing is it's not important to me, much as it's important to those kids sitting in those hospital beds. By no choice, you know what I'm saying, they're stuck in there, have to do blood transplants, obviously, firsthand experience, seeing sometimes where, you know, hey, we have to wait, you know, for treatment because we don't have any blood stock. So just to be able to give back and help kids in need or just anybody in need, I think that's kind of what we're doing. And so for me, man, just to bring the awareness to all, use my platform, help you guys, you know, have you guys help me spread that wealth, not only for myself, but for the kids that really need it out there. So thank you for asking.
You've been a part of a number of successful Jaguar units over the years. What is it about this group in particular that separates them from the previous years of success?
You said Jaguar what?
Units.
Units.
Yeah.
As a defensive unit or a team? Both?
Both, sure.
I mean, as a team, you know, we have a lot of great coaches. Not saying we never had great coaches in the past, but we have a lot of great coaches on both sides of the ball. Coach Camp has done a heck of a job on just being his authentic self. And when you can be your authentic self every single day and you can be a leader of men as well, that just brings out the best into everybody, makes everybody want to compete at a high level. And if you don't perform at a high level, you're going to actually feel like you're not crap. And that's a feeling that nobody wants to have because we're dependent on each other because we are a family, and that's the family unit that he wants to bring. And as a team, you're talking about Liam brings both sides of the ball together. And, you know, it's not just offense versus defense. That's it. It's just the Jaguars versus the Jaguars. For us to get better every single day, and that's the motto and that's the message. We want to protect each other and make sure that we're also getting good work because we want to be the best and we've got to compete at the high level to be the best. Good question.
2 years ago, I think you talked about gaining weight last year, losing weight, put a little bit more on this year.
I'm still the same way. I just look good.
So it's not a repeat of Mass Kicks Ass then.
This guy.
No, you do look good. How have you changed your body a little bit going in?
I don't know. I work out good.
Does it feel different?
What feels different?
Do you feel different?
I feel great. I feel great. Running around out there looking. Y'all brought to practice. How'd y'all think I looked for the first time seeing me practice?
Always. Was there intentionality to
Always?
Getting bigger. Was there intentionality on your part?
Getting bigger? Not bigger though. How big do y'all think I am?
265.
Okay, how big do you think I am?
I was probably going to say like 268, maybe? You're not 267. Yeah, not 270.
There it is.
Are we in the ball? Hey Josh, you didn't go back to Arizona. Was there?
I did go back to Arizona.
You did. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you're done there for this year? Are you?
Yeah,
are you
I only go to Arizona in the beginning. Now, if I'm not in OTAs, I would be in Arizona.
Okay.
But I'm here in OTAs.
Was it intentional year 2 to gain some continuity with this group?
Yeah. I mean, I think we have a good chance to win the whole thing. And talking to the coaches during the all season, the plan was, we had a different strategy coming to this, attacking this program right here. And, so far, I think we've gotten better as a unit. There's still steps that we need to take to become the defense that we need to become. Do I think we're there right now? I don't think so. But do I see the growth and the mindset that everybody has to attack each and every day? Yes, I do. So that kind of gives me hope to know that we are taking those steps. And, we come back training camp, put pads on, obviously be a little bit more physical for both ends. And I think that's when we can really try to test to see what the growth we really had. Because now you start putting physicality into assignment stuff if you're really paying attention to one thing and the other. And that's kind of what obviously I'm not going to say I'm waiting for it, but, I'm looking forward to that time comes.
What's the next step for you and Trey? You mentioned that there's another step to take. I know you guys push each other every year.
I mean, obviously, you step on the field, you want to be the best player in the National Football League. So, looking at him, he wants to be the best, I want to be the best. Let's become the best duo. When you talk about duos in the National League, that's the new thing now. What's the duo? The duo this, duo that. If that's what they're talking about, let's be a part of that conversation. Let's solidify ourselves as the best duo. And, these are the things that we talk about. These are the expectations that we have for each other. But, if my level of play is at a high level and his level of play, that comes naturally. And that's kind of our mindset. We want to be. Trey wants to break my record. I want to beat my record. I want to get Myles Garrett's record. And so these are the growths that we're taking. If we can both achieve those things, obviously we'll become the best duo. So.
What have you seen from the two rookie defensive ends, Zach Durfee and Wesley Williams?
I mean, they're in the playbook, obviously. Again, we haven't done anything yet. You know what I mean? And and that's not a test. I'm not saying anything negative about them, but in order to see what. How you really play football, how the O-line is really going to set you, how they're going to come at you on the line of scrimmage. Are you going to set the edge? Are you going to be able to set the edge, get off, make a play? Are you going to be able to have your mindset, knowing what you're going to do in the rush plan and execute it? If he gives you something, are you going to go power? Are you going to go speed edge? Are you going to take the inside? But instinctually, they're playing really fast, which is a good sign right now. But again, ask me this question once we get into camp, and then I can give you a better in-depth answer of how I really feel. But outside of that, man, they're great kids. They're great young adults. They're great men, and they're very responsive for themselves and for the team.
Seeing as you look and weigh exactly the same, where do you want to get better this year?
I mean, we have a good thing. Our coaching staff does a good job on, find your three best. And, when you can sit back and you can analyze yourself, which is, what I do, I look at my tape, where can I get better in, and I can write these things down. And then you go to your coaching staff and they say, hey, these are the areas. And when they can match together, that's a good sign of we're all on the same page. And, for me, it's just, keying the ball a little bit better. A lot of those sacks, a lot of those pressures, a lot of those hits can become sacks if I scoot up on the ball a little bit more by just a hair. If I can get off, if I can, anticipate the snap count a little bit better. These are all things that those pressures, those hits can become sacks and first turnovers. So, we're all on the same page of that. That's one thing that I've been trying to emphasize this offseason, just the little details and being on it, every single play, not taking the play off on those details. And that's kind of like my main focus, this OTAs, and we're doing good with it.
Jalen McLeod told me you're somebody he watches a lot, just kind of picking up on the things you do. What have you kind of seen from him, just his mindset, second guy going into a second year who kind of wants to make an impact?
Yeah, I mean, his first year, obviously, he didn't play. So for him, this is a show us who you are, prove yourself. And I think every day, you know, dang, these gnats, I'm sorry. You know, he's attacking every day as a pro. He's taking care of his body. I'm not saying he's beating me in the training room every morning, but he's right next to me, you know, working on something. You know, he's eating the right food. He's taking the right notes. He's asking the right questions. And, you know, and it's translating out here on the field. You know, there's a couple of good rushes that he had today, and I can't wait to look at him to kind of just see where he's at and to tell him, hey, next time, you know, once you set him up right here, what's your counter to that? Because you know he's going to overset you. He's going to do this. And, you know, he's taking those steps. And, you know, I like Jalen. And then, you know, he plays the run really well. You know, he's going to continue to grow and get better for us.
Like you said, not a ton you can glean necessarily right now because there are no pads on. But on the other side of the ball, what have you seen from the offense in terms of taking the next step, whether that's in the run game or the pass game, or maybe a couple players in particular that you feel like, oh, wow, like I'm now seeing the work of the offseason?
Yeah. I mean, we got a lot of, obviously the O-line, you know, I see those guys every day. Again, like when you talk about pass rush, I think, you know, Tan has gone, I think every guy has gotten better, and I think we've gotten better as a whole. But again, no pads is kind of hard. The run game, you can't really get the run game going because like you don't want to hurt each other, but you also want to be in your right fit. So there's a little competition there. But as you look at our skill guys, you know, BT's having a heck of a camp. He had a heck of a day today, which I don't like, but it's good to see, you know. Jacoby, you know, true professional, pro's pro. You know, Parker, man. Parker's been absolutely everywhere this offseason. You look at even our tight ends, man. Tanner had a heck of a play right, and he talks crap. You know what I'm saying? Like he talks his talk. So, you know, when you and Strange, you know, one of the most physical tight ends I've seen in a very long time, but can also run good routes. And then Trevor, you know, putting the ball where he needs to put it at. But again, you know, how good can we get each other better every single day? And, you know, that's our motto, and we're going to stick with it.
Or would you rate his trash talk?
Tanner?
Yeah.
I mean, he don't trash talk me yet. You know what I'm saying? I ain't put my hands on him yet. But, you know, just to see him make plays and to celebrate and not just, like, catch the ball, get a touchdown, and just turn back and get to the huddle. Like, I want to see you talk crap. I want to see you showboat. I want to see you can't touch me, you can't hold me. You know, I want to see that. And he does a good job at that. So, big target, you know, can fast, you know, really fast, can move well. I think he's going to be a good asset for us.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it.
I was just saying, BJ was your rookie last year. He started his foundation this year. Off the field, just what type of a guy is he?
Yeah. I love BJ, man. You know, he's one of the funniest people I've been around in this football world. On the field, you know, he's very type A, but off the field, man, he is a whole different person, man. And when he puts his mind to something, he does it. Like, you know, we went to London, he got the shopping. He's like, man, I like this fashion stuff. Now he's a model. You know what I mean? Like, he is so funny, man. He's a great person, great teammate, great brother. He's accountable outside the building. When you need him to do something, when you need him to be somewhere, he's right there. And you know, he was a good rook for me last year, and he's a good leader to the younger guys now. You know, he leads by example, and his foundation. I'm not going to be able to make it to his foundation, but I know he's doing something for the kids to go watch the movies. I wish I could make it to help him, but it's a good thing that he can do something to give back to the community, man. It's always good to not just think about yourself. Did I do what?
You still drink those energy drinks?
I'm not obligated to speak on that.
I told him his teeth is what I'm worried about.
Hey, you can pay to get those fixed.
Tell him
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.